charts and graphs.
I can draw it on a board.
I do it.
You don't know how to do it in,
Oh, you guys ought to move over here so I can hear you.
because most of the time, most people skip
You're
by
on my
and look for the
bad
number
side.
anyhow.
So shall we? Are you ready?
No, it's 5:29.
Okay.
Not on duty yet.
No, I don't want to be on duty.
Yeah, I'm at it.
Meet tomorrow or Wednesday.
Okay.
I'll enlighten you.
Okay. Does it matter if it's tomorrow or Wednesday?
No, or Thursday. Or
Okay.
Friday.
How long are you there till? Well, I mean, Cole's gonna be leaving like at 2, so you have time after that?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, just call me.
Okay. So, are we called to order the working session of the 11/27 meeting? What do we have to do after that? So, we don't do the pledge, I mean, all that stuff we don't do till the regular council meeting,
It's just
right?
an open discussion.
So we just, all right.
What do you want to talk about?
You wanna start with,
So you wanna do department heads?
I think we should start with them.
Okay.
Who's ever here? Go ahead, Sandy.
You guys, Sandy or Val, whichever one to go first. Yeah.
First of all, I just thought of this. What about Christmas Eve is on a Sunday to be open? I don't know what you think of that.
We had talked about that a little bit, just for a while, maybe.
I think it's a good idea, and people in till a certain point.
What about New Year's Eve is a Sunday?
I gave you my suggestion,
What was your suggestion?
11 to 3.
I would say I would think
You don't have
good
it by
for a
then?
certain amount of time.
Too bad.
Yeah, because later they're
If
gonna.
that works for
get
you.
rid
Yeah,
of-
whatever works for you.
Because that's your baby.
Well, on New Year's Eve, I was gonna see if somebody could come in, because we're gonna have Christmas that day. But otherwise, I mean, if it's only till 3, I probably could come in.
Well,
I wouldn't stay
See
too
what
late.
works
I
for
really
you.
wouldn't, and it's, if
Think
it,
of-
if it fell on a weekday, I'd say, yeah, then do it, but on a Sunday, I don't know if you're gonna, their habits aren't set to be able to purchase
and you're
on
limited
Sundays.
too, so.
Yeah,
But yeah, if it I would say if it works for you, or if you can find somebody to work, do it, otherwise I would lose any sleep over it.
Well, I'd say for sure on Christmas Eve, like 11 to 3. I don't think it's gonna be huge or anything, but.
Right.
so
That
do
would
it.
be my suggestion.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think so too.
yep.
Then I was wondering on the surplus, how many days do they have to pick up their stuff?
I've been giving them 10 days from when they called, or we called them,
Okay.
and they all pretty much came in the same day to pay or the day after, so.
Well, I know we still have, I'm pretty sure, some stuff that has to go.
There's a table going right now, I know, over there, guy called about.
Well, I know there's 2, the smaller tables, I think, didn't they sell? Didn't all the tables sell?
Well, you're gonna keep some for the patio, right?
But there's 2 small ones. I don't think we kept them. Pretty sure they were all on there. They're still there.
Well,
So
if they don't
whatever.
come get them in 10 days, then just save them,
So you're gonna stick by that?
Huh?
You're gonna stick by that then?
Well,
Can't
Big-
force them.
If you haven't picked them up in 10 days, just put them back on the next sale.
yeah,
Okay.
Is there any junk we're throwing?
yeah, one in the dumpster. It ain't very nice stuff either.
So what about all the stuff that we didn't sell?
Well, you said he had a bunch of stuff in the basement yet?
Just store it down there?
Yeah, we'll put it on, once you get everything ready, we just put it on another sale. We always get stuff that comes up, but it's taken out of houses or buildings or,
We should coincide it with the city cleanup next year, so if it doesn't sell, if it doesn't sell by then we can just toss it in there.
Okay. I guess we had wine samples over the weekend, which was pretty good. The one kind, we sold almost a case of because of it. And, I did put an ad in the paper and on the Marshall radio. We have a lot of in-store specials on a variety of wines and, well, there's some liquor too. But I guess that's all I have. October was up almost $2,000 from last year, and the year before it was down 10,000 from the year before that. Thought that was good.
You know where we're sitting so far this month, roughly?
As far as compared to last year,
Yeah.
I'd say it's gonna be pretty close. This week, last weekend, I think was down a little bit. I think that was maybe because of the weather, people were out. I guess that's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Much.
know for sure the hours we decide on for Christmas and New Year's, so yeah, there's Facebook's going on.
Okay.
Set that up.
Okay, so, as you know, we submitted the grant, for the library basement remodeling at the end of September, and we got notification on the 9th that we've been selected as a recipient. It's contingent upon some additional actions being completed. Of course, it's not official until these things are done and we, complete the end grant agreement. So we had to do a resolution stating that the city owns the building. We'll follow the assurances in the application and so on and so forth. And then, that will provide matching funds for, the other half of the project. So, as you know, we're set to receive, a substantial amount through the Highland Estate, and that will cover most of it. And that's what the library board does intend to do with that. And above and beyond that, it'll probably end up costing the city about $6,000 to $7,000 that we would be asking the city to kick in. I do have another grant that I'm applying for that I'm hoping will cover at least part of that, or help us to get some furniture for the basement, because we can't buy furniture with this grant. It's just for capital improvements. So you've got the resolution that you'll be voting on tonight. Matt put this together for us, and on his suggestion, I did send it to the state and have them review the resolution to make sure it was okay, and they said it looked good, so we can go ahead and approve that if you so choose. A couple of notes. Oh, one other thing I wanted to add to is that we had originally budgeted to do asbestos removal this year at the library. Well, health and safety, you were scored on different things for the grant, and health and safety was one of those, and so I threw the asbestos removal into the grant, thinking that it might help us, gain some points there. So we won't be doing that on this year's budget, it'll be part of the grant. Does anyone have any questions? I know this is probably as clear as mud to you. I've kind of been immersed in it for 3 months, and
How much did you have budgeted for your asbestos
it
abatement?
was about $3,500.
So that would be about half of what you may do for an overrun.
Right, and, we did include, we kind of figured that the furnace and AC unit that we threw in was kind of that extra thing that if the city decided they wanted to cut back, that could be where they did it. Dale just felt when he was talking to different people to help us put together the plan that we have to put the ductwork in anyway. The furnace could go out at any time, and this would help us
This would
with
be the time to do it.
energy efficiency, it would be the time to do it. And would hopefully save us money on utilities in the long run, so. It's definitely an option to take that out, but there are definitely some advantages to it. So does anyone have any questions on the grant or the resolution? Okay.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thanks. We also got, $500 from Midwest Bank to, toward our robotics program, so we had some kits that were getting worn out with being used for a couple of got some stuff for the younger kids too, which we're excited about. Just a friendly reminder, in your packets last month, you got the Plum Creek Joint Powers Agreement. If you have any comments or, need to suggest any changes, that'll need to be done by the end of this year. You can give those to me and I can always pass them on to the director, but just a reminder of that. We've had some good programs lately, and I think we're about done with programming for the year, so. Anything else?
Was there anything in that joint powers val that you thought needed to be changed, or?
I don't think so, no. You know, we went over it with a fine tooth comb at our advisory council, and, you know,
Pretty
there,
simple, other than being,
right, and the
Women.
things, honestly, the things that were changed since you approved it before were what I would consider very minor: capitalization, you know, a little bit of wording here and there. But you're certainly welcome to have Matt look at it if you want, and, that would be absolutely fine.
I'm happy with it, I just wanna make sure that the library is happy with it.
Yes. Yep.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
Jeff, do you have anything you wanna update us on?
Actually, I'm just going to, I think you all have this in your packet.
Yep.
Correct? And just a couple updates on there. The Third Street Townhomes, there is actually, we talked to Luann today, and there was a couple serious lookers already.
Good.
So that's, good progress there. And then just to remind everybody that I know it's still, about 4 weeks away, but the grand opening of Lewis Drug will be an exciting event on the 20th. I know you've got it here, and I know Diane was working on it too, and I have a copy for everybody. I'm just gonna read this to you. The petition for annexation back parcel of Red Rooster property. The former Red Rooster site consists of 2 parcels. The front parcel along on the highway is within city limits of the city of Tracy. The back parcel that the shed is on is not in city limits, but rather in Monroe Township. The owners of the former Red Rooster property, or the ones that own it now, Tracy Development Corporation, would like to annex the back parcel into the city of Tracy. They realize that the building, the tax base of the city of Tracy is of utmost importance. The annexation will increase the city tax base. In addition, the annexation will just bring the whole property together also, in a nutshell. And so there's no buyers for it, but it'll be a lot easier to sell it. Instead of 1.5 acres, it's 2.5 acres. So that's what they're looking at. We're looking at, in an effort to build the tax base and make the development more simple, the TDC is requesting the annexation of the back parcel. They would like the city council to set up and hold a public hearing to help move forward with the annexation process. So I think we're talking about the dates of when we can have that special meeting or
Can we
whatever.
do that on the 11th?
No, they have to have 30 days, so we can't do it until the 22nd of January.
Gotcha.
So we're sending out you gotta send out letters to the people, whoever is right next to it. It's not a big deal on the east side, cause that's the city shop.
Right.
But then on the north side, there's somebody, and then across the street, you gotta send letters out to everybody. So they gotta have 30 days to prepare for the meeting if they're going to. And also, we talked to somebody this morning at the city office about getting it into the agenda of the Monroe Township, so they can at least talk about it, so that we didn't blindside them with it. So that's coming. And then with me, next week I'm on my own, so good luck to all of us.
Yeah.
So, but that's all I've got. You've got the update in here. So, I think a lot of exciting things. In fact, I'm enjoying myself. It's been very nice, especially working with her.
Thank you.
Anything for me?
Has anybody contacted Monroe yet? Has anybody talked to like Jeff or any of those on that board?
We talked to, who was it? this
Steve
morning?
Meyer.
Meyer, okay.
Yep,
And just because he
Yep.
was there
Yep.
this morning in the office,
Okay,
yep, so they're aware of it. He's gonna put it on their agenda for them
Good.
to discuss it.
so at least they won't be blindsided with it. They'll have it on their agenda beforehand.
super.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Do you wanna go?
two things that were added to the agenda. There was the payment applications, one for Dunick. I actually don't have a copy of that with me. How much was that?
The resolution?
Tab 7.
Tab 7 for Dunick, this would be for work through, early November through the 18th. So including the 5%, or after accounting for the 5% retainage, it would be payment of $766,778.77. This is quite a bit more than previous. Towards the end of the project, they had several crews in town at a time, that's why it's more than previous months. So we would recommend approval of that contingent upon RD concurrence when the time comes. And then also Reiner submitted their first application for payment. And that is,
You have that one, Chris?
yeah, I did here. The packet. I have it in here. After accounting for the 5% retainage, $680,791.55, and that some of that work completed includes a change order, which is also up for approval. We ran into some topsoil that was thicker than the borings indicated, so we went around and dug some test holes. We're projecting approximately $34,000 in total soil correction, which obviously is not a small amount of money, but in the grand scheme of the project, it's a $5.4 million project, so it's.
What does that mean, soil correction?
So they have, before they place the clay liner, they have to remove the topsoil. And we had soil borings before the project started, and those all indicated that topsoil is about a foot thick. Well, there's some spots where it's up to like 5 or 6 feet thick, so they have to remove more, replace it with clay, and then keep going. So after we encountered a particular area, we went around and dug some test holes, and Reiner was happy to do it, you know, at no cost. Took them out of production for a while just to get a better handle on what we think the area will be. So we're projecting about $33,840. They've already done about 20,000 of that. So we'd recommend approval of pay application 1 contingent upon rural development concurrence, and after any potential revisions of change order 1 that RD may also have. So we're also recommending approval of change order 1 contingent on, everything for these projects always contingent upon RD approval. So if they come back and want some changes, or they may not, the one thing I haven't been able to get an answer on yet is they may want to do a separate change order every month for the amount actually completed, instead of doing one for, we're projecting 34,000, we're still not gonna actually pay them until the work's done.
Right.
They may wanna do it, we'll just do a separate change order after that month's work is complete, so. That's why that language would be in there to, not have to come back for council approval, we can just adjust it after we get comments back from rural development. So otherwise, I mean, they're flying out there. They've only been working for about 3 weeks, and they've completed about $700,000 worth of work. It's pretty amazing. They're flying, so we're pretty happy with the progress so far, and can't argue with the 65-degree day and
No.
end of November either. So
Not
hopefully
wait for
that,
the next 10 days, and it's
right,
due.
right.
That extra topsoil help on covering the current ponds, won't it, to help fill over there?
Yeah, it'll, I mean, the total amount of material available probably doesn't change, it's just clay or topsoil,
Right.
but, yeah. Cause the clay that would have been excessive, they're now using that to fill in where they're stripping the topsoil. But, yeah, so that was those 2 items, and then the other thing I think that would maybe concern me on the agenda is if we wanna discuss any changes to assessments for phase 1. There was, did you get a copy of the memo, Shane? Okay.
There's 5 total, right?
Yeah, it was in the agenda.
There were
packet.
5 total people that, yeah, and then some of them have neighbors that are basically in the same situation, so.
But they didn't,
Actually, nobody, only 2 of them,
officially appealed.
right, filed a, there are multiple steps they have
Yeah.
to take, but they took the first step, yep. And one of them was Elaine Fisher, and my understanding of her objection was that her driveway wasn't done, so it is now, so hopefully that's,
Yeah, she was appealing the definition of substantial completion, which is understandable. So we shouldn't have to adjust on hers.
right? And then Dwayne Berry was the only one, other one that submitted a letter of objection. I mean, his position was that the vacant lot he owns is only valued at $500, but the current value doesn't really matter, and it's, my understanding it's a buildable lot. So,
Is that a buildable, Shane?
Depends on how big the house is.
Yeah, if you go back to the original footprint, I think, okay. But that could be deferred though,
yes, and that, yeah,
without reducing it.
right. So maybe upon development or something, or upon,
And he came and talked to me today, and he said, you know, if I have the utilities, I don't have a problem paying it.
oh, is he not aware that he had the stubs, or?
No, he didn't
Oh.
get the steps.
Yeah, we did provide stubs to that.
So that's no longer an issue then, or?
Well, maybe he has. Yeah, maybe that's why we took it out, because we wouldn't have to.
It isn't real likely that they'll build there, but he said if, and I hadn't had a chance to talk to Chris yet since he came in mid-afternoon, but, he had said that if there was stubs there, he wouldn't have a problem paying it, you know, cause that's legitimate, but he said if there wasn't, then he's kinda, well, if it's a hookup fee, you know, why should I have to pay it if I hooked up, so. That was his, but, yeah, he still got curb gutter and street in that.
And then was Tony's the one front yard, backyard one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a whole
he
line
said-
of them there, but.
So the rest of them are basically front yard, backyard, some
Is
of
there,
them are already.
is there any underground work that's gonna be done on Center Street from Howlett down to First East in the next foreseeable future?
To roll them into that?
Yeah.
Well, that was, as using Tony as an example, his concern was, I don't mind paying for what I gotta pay for what I got, I just don't wanna get tagged again next time around. And if we don't have any utilities that we have to, that's a county road, they shouldn't get tagged anyway.
There'll be water and,
Yeah, so those are, the two next projects that kinda allow the rest of them to branch off are gonna be Third Street and Center Street, and each of those are kind of, I'll say, the spine of the two next sets of phases, and then they can branch off from there. Center Street probably won't happen until I think the county projected probably like 2024, based on their funding and their capital improvement plan. So obviously, we have plenty else to do, we don't need to
Right.
push them to do that, we could work on that Third Street, so that's probably the time frame that Center Street would happen. And then the other people on Park Street have the same, they're just now on the second phase, they already got their backyard. They have that water main improvement in the back, and they're saying that they've already been
That,
assessed for
yeah, but that wasn't a full assessment either, that was just paying for the curb stop and,
see, what my recollection on it is they only paid for the curb stop, and that's kinda what we mirrored for this street when we did that one block.
yep.
is,
Yeah, there was no huge assessment of that, most of them ran around the $900 mark.
Oh, okay,
Is all they paid, because, and they wouldn't even have paid for the curb stop, but the ordinance was that the property owner is responsible for it, so that's why we did the same thing on Fifth Street.
so that was Larry Lavoy, right?
Yeah,
His neighbor?
there's, if he's got an assessment other than 900 or whatever, I think, I wanna say the most one was 1,100 for some
I
of
think a
them,
lot of them are paid off.
yeah.
thought he
If
said
there's
like
more than
five.
that on,
Go ahead, sorry.
if there's more than that on Lavoie's property, it wasn't all utilities.
When he, at the meeting, I thought he said like 5,000 or 6,000.
That's what he said, and I just,
Yeah, okay,
my research on it says, no, it wasn't that much. And it was,
That was in 2011, and they're all pretty much paid off.
yeah,
after this year.
The project is 2011.
Yeah. It would have been assessed at 12.
He just purchased that, I mean, it's, I don't know if there was some other stuff that was on there, on his, being assessed back to that property,
Oh, the
Or
Goldens or whatever else.
whatever else,
Sure.
I don't know. But it wasn't for utility or infrastructure.
So are we thinking we won't adjust anything then? Jackie Lanou was the other one.
Yep.
She, about 2/3 of her property was improved in front of her house. Her water service likely
Is that per year?
snakes to the, where are we thinking, the east, Andy? And is shared with that, so at some point, that main in front of her house, when it continues, she'll probably have a new service that will connect to that main. And sanitary, there's a separate main, so that one will improve, but, yeah, I mean, she got 2/3 of her frontage improved with sanitary and water.
Yeah, that one. Two-thirds, so,
So her other 1/3 is gonna get done in the next phase?
I don't know that it was included in the next, but I mean, a future project, yeah.
that's gonna be another one that's gonna be 15 years down the road or better.
It is. Then she should only get don't you think?
Yeah,
Like done for 2/3 of it? Cause her other third is gonna come along eventually.
is that a corner property or just stop in the middle?
It's,
I couldn't read the map.
it's right off the end of the alley. So the alley basically tees, the alley doesn't continue south of
Right.
Emery, so she's right in front of that, and that was the route of our sanitary, came down the alley. and
Down the
went
alley.
west. So it just,
So most of it,
her lot straddles the alley, basically.
Right.
Yeah. Cause had we continued her east property line, then the next lot over would have been 1/3 of that one, so. And we wouldn't, do that just for
Right.
the sake of completing someone's frontage.
I think. I think on Barry's property, it was just defer it, is my opinion. And then,
Well, and just to clarify, he did not get services, it was my understanding he did.
Right,
It sounds
that's
like
what I said.
they were taken out during construction.
you got the two options, you could either defer it, or you could do like they did for Hebig's on that corner lot he had on the 4th Street project. Then I don't know what, he didn't have any stuff in, it was like $3,500 on that.
Yeah,
But I mean, that, to me, deferring, that's the best way of doing it.
Do they have a hearing yet tonight, right, for those?
no, there's no hearing.
Okay, but they can voice their.
I suppose during the public comment, but there's not. So the council adopted the assessment roll.
Roll,
Right.
as
You can
written.
You can still make changes to it.
Right.
Without having to have another hearing, so that's what, if you were gonna change any of these, you would change just those. But yeah, then it needs to be certified to the county by, Thursday, yeah.
Now, does he have to, on Barry's, does he have to request a deferment, or can we just grant a deferment?
There has to be a resolution.
I think they have to request it.
Do you do that contingent upon, I mean, let them know that we need a request from you, but tonight approve deferment contingent upon receiving formal request or something? I don't know, it's up to you guys, obviously, but.
That works not. Matt coming tonight? That's be a question for him.
Then you'd have to decide too if interest would accrue or not. I've seen it both ways. And sometimes it just becomes, it's hanging out there for so long, nothing is developed for say 15 years, and then the interest just becomes, and they don't have to pay anything, but it's still accruing interest, and it's just becomes unrealistic. by the
Yeah,
time
that whole interest thing,
It's deferred, there has to be a document drawn up to have it recorded, cause that's what didn't happen
on the other one.
on the
yeah.
other ones.
Mm.
So it's a process, it's not just,
What I found on the alley project, it's different with, Lavoie's. He's got their $1,000, what started out about 1,400 in 2017 was $1,000. Something else must have been assessed, probably mowing or something else.
Something, when he
'Cause-
bought the property, that's what I'm thinking, yeah.
So if I look at two other ones, like Demings and Fredericks, they're all right around that. I wanna say the assessment was probably around 1,400 to 1,500 based on what the county has.
Well, that's, yeah, we're looking at that with the interest accrued on it, that's what it would be, yeah.
Yep. So,
I'm thinking, yeah, it wasn't all from water on that one. Well, in my opinion, I think the assessment values are pretty reasonable. Barry's the only situation that's unique in my mind, the fact that the utilities were stubbed in, and it's a corner lot that's undeveloped. I would lean more toward a deferment versus a reduction, and then leave the rest where they stand. But that's,
For Jackie's also, leave it the way it stands.
I would, yeah.
And then next time around, we just have to make sure we don't double whammer.
Well, yeah, and then by the time next time rolls around, it could be a different property owner, and it's where it's located at. You just don't know. And I use that logic because, and I'll use the Eagles as an example. They got tagged $7,000 for an alley that didn't flow water, and before that was paid off, then they got tagged again for $14,000 worth of work on the front that didn't improve the property, and that's why they went to court. So there's
Right.
the two-side thing. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but and you don't know what the next project's gonna be or where it's gonna be, but everybody benefited from this particular project. Everybody, whether they lived in that end of town or not.
Yeah.
So, that's my opinion. I would offer the deferment to Barry, and that'd be about it, only because it's not improved and then there's no utilities running into it.
And then we just
But-
have to go through the process of him requesting it and getting it all copied and
Legalized.
finalized.
would there have to be a resolution? Well, it could be included on the resolution, right? That we have here. Yeah, it'd just be deferred in here.
They still would have time, even after that resolution is signed, they have time where they can formally appeal it. And
we did something similar to that on Fifth Street with, Dick Kelly's.
Kelly's property and Dr. Apostle's property, and, yep. They were deferred. I don't remember the process. I don't think they requested, I think they just did it. To me, on a deferment, putting on the taxes, and again, I'm no property attorney, but it'd be just like putting an assessment on for cutting the grass, and moving the snow that nobody's paid for, and you put it on their taxes. I don't see where this would be any different. It just matter of the working out the interest numbers and if you're gonna charge them or not charge them, whatever. But I would say no interest and just put it as a deferred on their property taxes, so at the time it's sold, it picks up the.
Would that affect their 20%?
I don't think so.
It makes your number for your 20% remain the same,
Yeah.
and then you don't always collect your 20%, the bond company says don't count on collecting your 20%, so. It should still make the numbers legal for the bonding.
One thing I've seen cities do, since he was one to, file his objection, so he still has an opportunity to continue the appeal process,
Yep.
is in his request for the deferment, also, it'd be like a petition and he can waive his right to appeal.
Right.
Yeah. Or on the same thing, if you were gonna adjust any of these, have that be part of the agreement, so they can't go ahead and appeal something that, you know,
Yeah.
something lower. That's what I've seen other cities do, I guess I'm not saying to do it that way for necessarily.
I don't know what the rest of you think, but that's,
I would agree with that
that's
too.
Is that
why
too?
we hashed out the numbers that we hashed out.
Yep,
'Cause it's,
to get it to the point so it works.
yeah.
Okay. I think that's all I have. Any other, anything for me?
Oh, yeah, maybe just the way I'm looking at it, I'm just curious. Hospice house,
Yes.
is it me or is the fire hydrant in the middle of what would have been a street?
Yeah, it is, and that's what we do on, street extensions, cause you need something to flush the line and everything when
Right.
you test it. And then when the street gets extended further, they'll just salvage that.
Move it over or move it down?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
I've been out there,
Yeah.
I looked at it, went, I'm looking at it wrong, I come by the other way, no.
They're gonna have the bend around right
It's
away.
like, what the heck, why would you put it in the middle of the street? I understand needed at the end of the line, it just,
Yep.
okay,
Yeah, so if you maybe notice that now, not always, but sometimes when you see a street stubbed out in another city, there'll be a hydrant off the end, some, not
and
always.
it's based on where the main runs, it isn't.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Instead of,
instead of taking it over to the right of way, yeah, I'm, okay,
yep.
now that makes sense.
Otherwise, we're thinking
I
of a
wasn't
roundabout there
imagining
too.
it.
Just put it on the island.
It did look funny, I was gonna, maybe they're putting it over here.
Yeah, I forgot about putting it at the end of the main, that,
Yep.
Jason, you wanna go?
I'll entertain any questions you have. I don't have anything for you, actually, so.
how's
What
the
did you do there?
recovery doing?
1 week down.
What'd you do?
I had anchor put in my bicep tendon. So I was about ready to detach,
That ain't good.
so. Yep, fun.
I didn't see anything to question.
Nothing jumped right out at me either. You got anything for us?
Nope.
I love it when it goes easy.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good day.
Right?
Thanks, Jason.
Last but not least,
You guys all have a chance to read my report.
Yes, I
Kind of a bunch of randomness, but,
The leaf harvest was,
what's that?
I like the leaf harvest.
Yeah. It all blows one side of town and it blows to the other, so. Still working on Excel, give me an answer on the decorations on the highway. They're a little out of our reach now that they put new poles in, so. Some of the streetlights are 16 feet, some of them are like 24, so there's really no rhyme or reason to their heights, so. Just trying to figure out who's paying to have the outlets. We moved all the brackets so they could be put up, but, plug-ins are longer than what the cord is, so.
Are some of those old poles still gonna stay there? Or are they all gonna,
Pretty much what's there is gonna stay,
is always what's gonna be?
yep. Most of them are like for telephone lines and stuff.
Right.
Didn't care about those, so.
Nope, I was just wondering if there's gonna be more out there, so.
Surplus. I did put a memo 14 in front of you. That's kind of where we're at with those corrections with the latest one I got with the police budget. So we're at 3.79%. And none of the wages were changed yet till that contract settled, so, but that's where we're at as of right now.
Have we heard anything from them back?
I haven't got a reply from them yet, so don't really know where that's at, so.
Do we want to a little more into the library, make up that difference, so we don't have to shuffle at the last minute?
Make it the 7,000.
Make the seven, yeah, just add 7 in their budget.
Cause there was the 3,500 already budgeted, right?
For this year.
Yeah. For that.
What's that?
Well, we had the 3,500 for the asbestos in this year, so we just have to add 3,500 more for the AC this year to get it to the 7,000. And then next year, we'd have to worry about the.
Do you wanna levy
asbestos.
that, or do you wanna just use it out of the fund balance?
Well, do they have the,
If they haven't used it this year,
right,
in reality, it should be in the general fund balance. It's up to you.
well, yeah, I'm just thinking,
Most of these,
because we're gonna have to pay for all of it up front. The way I understand it, we pay for it all up front before the state reimburses us on that grant, so
Okay.
we're gonna have the, which way least affects our cash flowing ability.
I mean, if we levy it, we're not gonna get a payment till June and December.
Right.
However,
The carryover will stay in the general fund, and that's where the rest of it's gonna have to come out of anyway, it just,
yeah, so I guess, I mean, it'll make up with it for the grant and the revenue side,
right.
but I mean, I can change it, there's still time till next meeting.
That would probably add, what, 0.2 of a point?
What do you wanna add?
You could throw 3,500.
Yeah. It's about a half a point every 5,000, I think is what we figured last time, so. Should be looking at,
Call it 4.
Yeah, just under 4 probably.
we're right at 4.
I would do it, then we just know where the money's at,
Yeah,
and we're not wondering why we're pulling it out of there.
because that 3,500 that was in for this year had been levied on also.
Yeah.
Just do it all in one fell swoop, so we know where the dollars are coming from.
You just carry it over.
So add 3,500 to library fund.
Building maintenance for the schools.
Yep. And I'll just put a memo together on all the adjustments from the preliminary, and you guys kinda know where everything's getting adjusted from for the next meeting.
It looks a lot better.
I'm hoping Matt's here to discuss this with, the memo from Matt for the council vacancy. Everybody had a chance to read that, pretty much states that we have to fill it as soon as possible.
Go by application for a 1-year term to be filled with an election.
We'll have that pending your approval. That advertised over, so.
Did it say in there how long it had to be advertised in that, or just?
Doesn't really
Couple weeks.
specify, 2-week recommendation.
Okay. And then who decides who gets appointed? I didn't see that in there.
Council.
Is it council, town council, okay.
And then you got, another petition for local improvement for Ron Coyle. He's here at the hearing.
Yep.
Getting his, extra special assessment for the private work.
He was tickled, by the way, said you were a great help with him.
Good. So, the next step with these is, I'm gonna try to get them all ready for the next meeting. Obviously, they won't go until the 2019 levy, but.
Right.
I gotta get their amounts. I only got the amounts from like 2 of the people. Need the amounts, then, something that we should probably add to the agenda, unless you added it already, is to discuss, the interest rate and the terms for those. If you wanna do 10 years, or if you wanna match the interest rate of the, special assessments for 2017 project, or how you wanted to do that. Because those terms are part of that contract, that needs to be signed in the next meeting, so.
The terms on the normal assessment, is it 10 years and the same, half point above the bond rate, or I?
15 years and then
If-
it was,
15, was at 4.4, I think it said on here.
Yeah. I know it's 4.4, but
It's 15 year.
kind of a, yeah, because we talked to Ehlers about that, it's kind of like a blended rate between the.
so you're looking at, a lot of them are around the 3,000 range on average. So I don't know if you want to give them 10 years or 15 years, match everything, or how you wanted to, how far you wanted to extend it out. But
We don't have any history on that, do we?
not really, kind of a,
I mean, other than the ones that got put on water bills way back when.
it usually, like for unpaid utilities, it's all 1 year. And they have to pay it on the next year's taxes with interest, so.
So if that amount, and then using that same interest rate of 5 years should be,
$30 a month,
should
roughly.
be reasonable, yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna hang right around $25, $30 regardless of what you
Yep.
do and how you do it, so.
Yep.
Seems like 15 years is a long time for $3,000.
Right, it's on top of the other assessment.
Right.
Right.
And it can be paid off early because they save their interest. I think, I don't know, I think 5 years is more than enough time on that, and not that great of an amount.
I mean, I thought 10 at the most, but
Yeah.
it's up to you guys.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with 5 years either. It's at that 4.4%.
I'll add it as an agenda item.
Perfect.
Is anybody from Bullitt coming tonight?
I don't think so. I just put that packet in there for FYI, so you guys kinda know.
So the memo, we don't have to act on that as, or not, the application from Olson. The council, does council have to approve adding that to the CIP? Okay.
12D that you have in the packet?
12D?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What are which lots are those, just
Yeah.
ones that we mow all the time?
it's the ones that were on the recent forfeiture. It'd be like, where Mike Deasy lived, I don't know the addresses, B1, that's, Simpson, be on First East and Union.
Have we done that before, reducing it to that on other
I
properties?
know they've waived them completely, I guess the county's not really asking for that, but this last mowing for last year, they didn't know we raised our rates on mowing. They kinda based their prices on, mowing from the previous year on what the assessment would be.
So is it the county asking us to reduce the assessments?
Yep.
Yeah, them come over and mow?
I asked him that. I said, you know, if you guys mowed this, we wouldn't have to, and it's
Yeah.
a necessity. So,
So do they know that our rates are raised now and next year it'll be a higher number?
they found out now, after the last, when it's certified.
So we could be nice one last time and then next year you pay what we need?
They do have some interest. I know one house, they're talking about selling to a neighbor property. He was gonna demo it and build a garage or something there. Which that house needs to be demoed.
Alright, yeah, like I said, I just didn't know which properties they were and alright.
That spot next month too, don't
You want that in addition?
I don't like this spot.
No,
It's time.
Not this time.
no, it's all has to be yours.
Okay, can we call it
Okay.
to order the city council meeting for 11/27/17? Let's stand and say the pledge of allegiance. And
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We don't have a
No
pastor.
invocation.
No invocation. Do I have a motion for approval of the minutes as they are written?
So move.
Second it?
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay.
Oh, it's just us.
Yeah. Do we have a motion, there's any approvals, the approval of the agenda?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, item 10K, we're going to add for interest, we got J, I guess J also, and that should be in front of you. Property owner petition the municipality for annexation by ordinance.
Yep.
And then K will be, that's the,
Set the terms of the petition.
yeah, the terms and interest rates for the individual petitions for local improvement.
And then these two.
And then we have 12G, resolution 2017-97, approved payment to Dunick for phase 1 infrastructure improvement. And also 12H, resolution 2017-98, approved payment to Rainier Contracting for stabilization bonds. I think that's it.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve as amended.
Second?
Motion made and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Does anybody have any conflicts of interest? Okay, public comment period. Anybody from the public want to talk about something that's not on the agenda?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
I just want to follow up to when I spoke previously about my name is Jackie Lindew, and I live at 136 East Emery Street, and I had previously objected about my share of the assessment that will be assessed towards my property. I did print one of these off for everyone. As I stated before, I did not get new sewer or water services installed because mine comes from the other way. I did get new street and curb and a new fire hydrant. It affected like 57% of my frontage property. And so I would propose that I pay 57% of the assessments and 100% when I'd be in charge for a hookup when I never got anything to be hooked up to. My property is obviously the pink, purple, whatever.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions about that now?
We can handle what's on the agenda.
Did she just go?
Apparently. We'll just
I guess we can.
come up and it'll come up to the agenda.
Homer, do you want to do the invocation since you're here?
Homer, do you
want to do it? We would love to have you do it as long as you're here. Lord knows we all need a blessing. Come on up. Yeah.
Yep.
You're
Yeah,
up.
Come up.
Sorry I'm late, I was thinking of something appropriate to say. Gracious and eternal Heavenly Father, forgive me for being tardy. We want to ask your blessing to be upon this council meeting tonight, as well as upon our entire city. We know, our Father, that it takes many, many individuals to make a city what it ought to be, and it takes dedicated leaders to bring it all about. And so these individuals are worthy of all of our prayers. And I ask our Father that during their considerations tonight, that everything would be conducted in a manner that speaks of our allegiance, not only to our city, to our country, but our allegiance, our loyalty to you. And as we speak, may we have the manner and the characteristics of our beloved Lord and Savior Christ, and use him as our example as we treat one another, treat our community, and then to glorify you. In the name of Jesus I pray, amen.
Thank you, Homer.
Thank you.
Do we talk about Jackie now, or do that later, or?
We can do that when we get down to the action items on it.
Anybody else from the public? We had reports already at our working meeting, so now we'll go into the petition. Recommendations for the council for items to be addressed by the city charter.
Well, echoing what Shane said earlier in the working meeting, but the items that came up with non-residents serving on the airport board is one. Anything that's not in compliance with statute would be something that needs to be looked at.
Any outdated things?
Anything outdated. Shane mentioned the cemetery board, if you're having trouble filling it, that type of thing. There's some of the boards we need to look at that have residency requirements, and we're not filling them. As long as they're not required by statute to be residents, I think we should let some of our business owners that do not happen to live within the city limits serve on them boards.
If there's a vested
If-
interest for
If
it.
they're a business,
Yeah.
yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Those are the things that I'd like to see looked at. Just recommendations. I mean, if you guys got anything, now's the time.
Anybody else have anything for that?
those are just things that come to my mind that were discussed over the summer, so.
I'm sure it'll come up
Okay.
more as going through it.
And then do we move on to the grant application for the library? And Val touched about that. Right, do we have to, right, we don't do anything here about that.
There's a
Well, you can take care of the resolution there now if you want to.
We do that?
It's, 12E,
Okay, let's do that right now.
make a motion out to approve resolution number 2017-95, authorizing the library construction grant.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion of changes for the final assessment for 2017, we talked about that.
And this is where we'd want to talk about Jackie's again. She said, well, I'm a little confused, other than, they didn't run any new service right up to her house. They just did the water main out in front, is that what it was? They put a fire hydrant out in front of it?
The only thing there, I was kinda looking at this earlier today. I was told that her water never got interrupted during this project, which, correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
Which leads me to believe that they're tied into the house to the east on a shared line. I guess that water main would serve a purpose there, cause now she can hook onto that new water main out front and then have her own service. Whether it's done now or if it's done when they continue that road on in the future. As far as the sewer goes, I mean, she's got I believe that's a fairly new line that's running east that she's been connected to. So I guess that's just some of the things that I've noticed with that particular property.
So that water line, you're thinking, is it, like, does it tee?
I think it ties, it's teed in with the neighbors.
So,
They're metered separately, but they share the
Yeah.
tap off the main, which we need to separate anyway, so.
Because the houses to the north, across the road, Scott's and Poco's, those are both shared. And also, a few years ago, Planches, which is right to the west of her, and Ryan Cruzy's on the corner were shared. So, leads me to believe that that house is probably shared with the one to the east, because there was never a main on that block. So,
so is it required for her to have her own separate line?
yeah, right now, you know, if the water bill became delinquent and we needed to shut her off, there's no curb stop. That's when we go after them. I mean, right now we can never keep up with the ones that don't work, but just getting plumbers over there to get them fixed.
So now she's gonna have to have a line put in like everybody else, correct, to tap into them?
Yeah. So, I mean,
Everybody else has to do it.
there's
Well-
plenty of them in town yet, just we find them and they
Fix 'em
become
up.
a problem, we get rid of them, so.
I don't know if the miscommunication or misunderstanding, but I've heard hookup fees, and I've seen it written where there were hookup fees. That was a term used at a council meeting, as we're bantering about ideas on assessments. The last thing I remember calling was an infrastructure improvement assessment versus a hookup fee. The numbers don't change, the name does. So the infrastructure in her neighborhood is improved. She's in the construction area. I don't know. I don't see any reason to reduce it myself. That's just me.
What do you think?
It's a two-way sword.
Yep.
I mean, you know, I don't know if, I don't foresee that road being improved going east anytime soon.
Right.
There's a lot worse areas in town that need to be put on the radar a lot.
And there's other properties in that whole construction zone that have been tagged with an improvement assessment after improvement assessment after improvement assessment in the last 20 years. And I'm not saying it's not gonna happen here, it probably will, but it's not gonna happen in 2 years or 5 years. So that's why it's a damn dirty deal, but it's the best system we could come up with to make it fair and meet the statutory requirements of the bonding.
And I know, you know, as far as rollings up on Center, I mean, to have that so he doesn't get assessed again, or, I mean, how do you wanna?
Well, I'll go back again, you know, we talked, the odds of doing any work down at Center Street is gonna be 2025 at the earliest.
124, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's,
I mean, unless the county gets a bunch of money or something, you know, from either state aid or otherwise, but
Right.
based on current funding projections, that's what they've said.
and at the same time, depending upon what we as a city use as a funding tool, whether, you know, we can avoid improvement bonds or the loss chains, we have to assess back for a special assessment. I mean, that's a county road. The road work would be like 4th Street over here, where the county paid for the asphalt work, and the assessed people were just supposed to be responsible for the underground stuff. So it's, the crystal ball to see out in the future is cloudy at best. But the legislature needs to change on, for cities like us will not be able to afford to keep assessing anything for infrastructure improvement. So if you don't spread it out, keep it low enough for everybody right now, we're gonna spend all the time in court. But that's the way I look at it. You know, of those that appealed or made their opinions known at the public hearing, there's only one lot that got a good street on the side of it and a good curb and didn't have any utilities stubbed in. I would say, you know, defer that one till the lot sells and the rest be the same.
I can agree with that.
Would be down resolution 2017-94.
That's the,
That's
No, that's
Mowing.
not the right one, no.
12 F.
It'd be 12F.
top of the second page.
There you go. 2017-96.
So say that the way you said it.
All right, I'd make a motion to approve resolution 2017-96, amended or deferred property ID number 31-104-66-0, and leave the other properties at the assessed value.
Second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
You want that with interest or without interest?
Oh, the deferral?
I'll amend my motion to make it without interest.
Second.
All in favor, say aye to that one.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Vacancy on city council. Is this where we needed Matt to discuss number E, the vacancy on the city council? Oh, I thought we did.
Well, these are the county houses that they're trying to sell.
Unforfeited, special assessment unforfeited requesting lower than to assist in the sale. So we talked about that, so do we just need to do a
That would be
motion
the
for resolution?
12D resolution, correct?
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion for resolution 2017-94, reducing the special assessment for various forfeited properties for mowing.
I'll second that, and then some discussion. The total number of properties involved was
5.
5, and the reason for reducing these assessments was at request of the county because of the price they set on them, and they were unaware that our mowing rates had changed. This being,
But they're aware now.
they're aware now, and this will be a one-time.
And I don't know if you probably wanna put the dollar amount of 400 in there, or it's in the
I
resolution.
think he had
Yep.
it in,
Yeah.
yep.
It's in that.
Okay.
So, that being said,
All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we go to E. The memo of the publication vacancy on the city council and appointment of a city chamber member. And Matt's not here to talk about that.
I guess I don't know if you guys wanna touch on it, otherwise I can. Pretty much what, to summarize the memo is, they have to fill that vacancy. Has to be appointed by the council as soon as possible. So I guess in Matt's memo, they wanna put an advertisement out. He recommended at least 2 weeks to apply for that council seat. And that would fill until 20
November's election.
November.
January of
Be the
19.
January
following
9th.
January, will it be seated?
They'd re-elect that in the
Yep.
November 18 election, so.
And then it would still just be for the remaining 2 years.
Yep.
And this is what we did for the mayor's 2-year seat
Yep.
in the last time around. The only difference is they went the full 2 years, they didn't go to another, there was no another election in there, so.
So if we get it publicized out there for 2 weeks, could it have to be in by December 15th?
Yeah, it'd be probably agenda item for the first January meeting.
to pick them, but yeah. We don't wanna leave
At
the,
least to review them,
Or then we could probably even go to the 22nd, just if anybody has interest, and then we have 2 weeks essentially to review and discuss and go from there.
there isn't any.
Nope.
Nope, so
accepting
just a
it.
motion authorizing to publish and the dates you want it to open and the date you want it to close.
What's the date we can open?
Put it in the paper.
When do you publish
Can you
next?
get it in the paper?
That would be the
Could it be in this week?
Yeah, it's out there.
29th? That's what I was thinking.
So we could make I'd make a motion that we publicize the opening for the seat starting November 29th and going and closing on December 22nd. It's 3 full weeks.
Yeah.
Do we need anything else on that motion?
I think so.
And do people have to fill out any specific form?
Matt recommended just using the one they use for the boards and commissions.
That's what we used last time
Gotcha.
also.
Okay, so I'd make that motion.
Okay, the motion was to advertise from the 29th to the 13th, closeout date of the 22nd.
Correct.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We need to set the hours for the recall election.
I would think we would want normal hours from 7 to 8.
Yep.
We're only required 5 to 7.
Yeah, but you're gonna get people that work, so
Yep.
I think if we do the normal election hours, is probably the smartest thing to do, and then nobody can say that they didn't have an opportunity. Do we need a motion on
So
that?
7 to 8, there's a resolution.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2017-93, setting the voting hours of 7 AM to 8 PM for the recall election on February 13th, 2018.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Olson, did I say that right?
I think so, yep.
Aerial application services, hangar feasibility, including a master plan.
Sounds like a Shane question.
That was one of the,
That's where
Large
you got all the airport
attachments.
stuff.
one of the other large side attachments.
Yeah.
So what they wanna do is, I know Tony was, council rep on the board, but, Olson, they do, spraying aerial application. They're looking at, doing a feasibility study to include in the master plan to build a hangar, so they could run operations out of the Tracy Airport. There is a, kind of a brief letter on what they're looking for, in the packet. I don't know, Tony, you have anything else?
It's a business out of Westbrook that's gonna expand. It'll help expand the airport. The reason it's brought up here is so we can get them to do a feasibility study. They'd like to have the building put up in 2018. They want to start spraying out here in 2018. That's kind of a optimistic timeline, but we can't do anything until we get it on the CIP and get the feasibility study done. So
Where would we build it? Where's the
that's,
potential spot?
At the
That's part of
airport,
the,
yeah.
I think that's part of the whole.
yeah, that's the whole master plan, feasibility study.
Does the city pay for the feasibility study for that?
It's,
Who pays for that?
yeah, and it's
Part of the master plan.
part of the master plan, so it'll be a little more expense, but I don't know how much, they never talk dollars and cents on it.
What is the master plan?
The airport master plan's a working document. Did you send them all that big package of the?
Yeah.
And that would just be part of Bowling's.
Right.
Yep.
It's an airport improvement project. The master plan is a document that the state and the feds will use to determine how much funding they're gonna give us, and if we're in compliance, and it goes anywhere from building, adding this hangar to rental hangars, to extending runways, to, depending upon when the pond's decommissioned, remove the terminal over the other side. There's all types of things that are being looked at in this. So it's, in order to get things started, they gotta get this master plan done. The timing was right to get it, this hangar put into it right away quick, so we can see what's happening. Maybe get it built to get them over here this year. Maybe not, but we'll see what happens.
So right now, they pretty much have to come up with a project, bring it to the FAA, have Boeing's, or whoever the engineer is, design it, and then send it in for approval. This will kind of keep all these things in a line so they can be just move forward with, instead of having to do them all on an individual basis.
And is the city the one paying for the hangar, or when you get reimbursed from them renting it?
There's money out there, the money we gave to other airports, there's money out there from MnDOT, but there will be an expense to the city. Worst case, it'd be, I'd say about 20%, maybe more. I don't know, it might be more because it's a building that you could revenue generate, so probably more than 20%. But the economic upside is worth the investment.
But I mean, the whole idea is that the rent will offset basically. putting
Over
up the
time.
building over time.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be something you'd want to lease, a long-term lease on.
Yeah.
And then in the end, we end up with a building that we can keep renting.
And if this doesn't pan out, the next time a doctor says, hey, I want to build a hangar, we'll know this hangar will work for X number of things. You build this one, it'll go here, and we have a plan instead of scrambling like we did last time when the doctor said, I'll come if we have a place to put my airplane. So it's,
So would it just be, would we just build like a one stall, like what he's, for him, or do we?
that's what he's asking for.
That size, you
That's-
only want to do one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a neglected resource, and we need to start working it.
Are all the hangars full now?
All but one.
Yeah, but he needs a big one.
I know, but I was just asking.
Yeah.
Ours are about 39, 40 feet, I think, the door width. You need 65, I believe. So, with 70 foot, I think, wall to wall inside, so it's quite a bit.
That and a small shed to store his chemicals in, but
Is there,
Do we need a motion to?
yes.
Right now?
Yep. There's not a,
And it was approved by the airport commission.
right.
And passed on to the council for their blessing.
There is no resolution.
I would make a motion to, add the Olson's request to do a feasibility study and add it to the master plan for the airport improvements.
I would second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Appoint council member to the MPC board.
So Bill was our multipurpose center representative
When do they meet?
on the third Monday at 3:30 in the afternoon.
I'm out.
That doesn't work for me.
Guess who gets to be on that?
Well, I'd be happy to do
Well,
that.
that's good to hear.
Third Monday of what, of the month?
Yeah.
Did you say?
At 3:30.
You have to change your nail appointment date.
Yeah, do you see that? Yeah, really. I'm forgetting to go to that nail appointment. Do we need a motion for that, or?
One heard.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion, appoint Pam to the NPC board.
Second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve a petition for the local improvements of Ron Coyle.
Similar to what we had last meeting, for the private sewer stubs. He's assessed, and he's one that spoke at the public hearing about wanting that due to affordability. So this is just the start of that, and then in a later council item here on K, we'll just decide what the terms are for those. I believe there's 4 or 5 so far that have petitions for local improvements, and we can get the contract moving forward to get those assessed.
I would make a motion to approve Coyle's, petition for local improvements.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Property owner petition to municipality for annexation by ordinance.
And that's
Have
for
that in
the
our packet.
Red Rooster.
This is for the area behind the Red Rooster.
Behind the Red Rooster property, and it's a voluntary annexation which will help increase the tax base. I would make a motion to approve the petition and call for a public hearing on December 18th at 6.
January
January
22nd.
That's right, you got 30 days, I wrote it on the wrong calendar. Yep. January 22nd.
I'll second that.
At what time?
6:45?
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion for resolution 2017-91, acknowledging receipt.
Oh, we gotta do K.
Gotta do K
Oh,
first, the
okay.
terms and
Okay,
interest rates
terms.
for these improvements.
And we discussed it earlier, we going with 5 years?
At the 4.4%. I'd make a motion to do the 5-year term at the 4.4% interest rate.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Now, do we have a
Now we're ready.
motion for the resolution A?
I would make a motion to approve resolution 2017-91, acknowledging receipt and accepting the Councilman Chakowski's resignation.
Second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution B, 2017-92, acknowledgement, receipt, and acceptance of Terry Peterson's resignation and declaration of a vacancy on the City Charter Commission.
I'd make make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Money spending.
The last one we have is resolution 2017-96, amend resolution 2017. We do that already?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, we did, H. Resolution 2017-98, approval of MP payment to Reiner Construction or contracting for their stabilization funds.
You mismatched.
Well, you know what?
I'd make a motion to approve resolution 2017-97, approve payment to Dunick for the phase 1 improvements.
I'd second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
And then I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2017-98, to approve payment to Reiner Contracting for the stabilization funds.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have approval of consent calendar, the municipal accounts payable, accounts receivable, and department head reports?
Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Unfinished business, budget. Do we have anything for that?
So 14A, should have in front of you. That's where we're at so far with the department heads. I know you talked about the library during the working session of keeping 3,500 in the levy for that grant, for improvements to the basement. Other than that, put us just a touch over 4%, where we're currently sitting.
We finalize that on the meeting on the 11th, right?
Yep. Yep, after the hearing.
We've got all our
Thank you.
discussions with the department heads all taken care of, and
Yep.
so basically what we're waiting on is the wages.
Yep. Do you hear anything from Dale as far as
I talked to him today again, and everything,
no changes or
no
anything?
changes.
Okay.
He'd love to add more, but he knows better.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so it's really based, what it comes down to is wages, so.
It is 4% reflecting some increase already, is it not? In the wages, there's not reflecting any wages.
It's currently 3%.
Okay.
It's,
But it's,
yeah.
so that's.
Wages haven't been touched since
Right.
the preliminary, that's what you're.
Yep, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, so that'll also adjust PRA and all those accounts too, so, I mean, whatever that,
And that meeting set up for that, right?
or,
The insurance and all that?
the taxation meeting or the,
No, the employee.
That's all, the
That's all.
insurance is all settled, we're just waiting for him to let us know on the contract.
the ASME contracts?
Okay.
If they don't come back and approve this before the 11th, we just certify it at the numbers we're using.
Yeah.
And the way if it goes down, it goes down, and we, yeah.
Okay.
I just
All you
don't
can
want to
do.
hold up anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what about surplus sale? Any updates for that?
Yeah, it should be a memo in there.
Any takers on the tanker?
I think it was at 1650 this morning. It's on, min bid now.
Someone called and asked me about it, and I told them to check there, so.
Yeah, and I have had quite a few inquiries on it. One guy thought it was a gas motor, and he's kinda excited when he found out it was a diesel, so I don't know, maybe it'll go up. Generally for bids, they don't bring up real high until the last 5 minutes, so.
And when does it close? Not that I'm gonna jump in and buy it quick.
Last week, I think we put it on. I know Jason did it right before, he went in for his surgery, so
Did you put a minimum on it?
they didn't. We had 1,500 on the our own
Right.
surplus sale. Let's see here,
What did you say it was at right now?
1650.
$43, $42.51 is what it was.
So min bid received it on the 20th. So a few days. That should be up.
And then the other thing that was on your note, the pool lounge chairs.
Yeah, we got rid of those now.
Okay. That was just my other question.
Because I know the council said whatever's left, just
Get rid of.
so we put free on them, and some guy took them all, so they're gone.
Okay then.
So we ended up coming up with $4,342.51. We do have a few things that weren't really worth throwing away. We might throw on Craigslist, like a bagger for the lawnmower. You don't see many of those lawnmowers around, but if you get it out in a bigger,
Get something for them.
better than paying to get rid of it, I guess, and it's free
Right.
advertising, so. Pretty much everything that we had, we just threw away or put up for free. There wasn't much, just a few little useless items. Some of them's been on a couple sales already, like one of the metal desks. I just went in the iron pile today, so. But pretty much the only thing we're gonna save for rollovers of liquor store items, cause there was quite a bit of interest in items there, so I think it'd be kind of foolish to just throw that stuff away or give it away when, you know, someone else will probably bid on it for a decent dollar amount anyway, so. I'm not sure what's in the basement, so,
Glasses.
yeah. A lot of interest in that, except for like the disposable cups and stuff, there wasn't much there, some of it, but.
Sounds good.
Okay, and the VMC being open to the public, volunteers and managing.
So our question on that, we do have, I think, 3 volunteers as of right now. We're just wondering for managing, so obviously this is after, 6 to 8, it's after we close, down here. So just wondering how you wanna go about making sure someone shows up. If that person said he's gonna be there and he's not,
It's bad weather and you have to cancel, what,
yeah, how do you guys wanna,
Good question.
and scheduling as far as who's supposed to be here when and communicating with them and.
Then how about as far as unlocking and locking?
well, I know, I'm sure Jason's not here to
Could
put
put
his
it on
2
the
cents worth
police
in,
around.
but, the police will be around. So, I mean, that's an option without paying someone to be here every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, so,
Well, I suppose if we set up a volunteer schedule of who's gonna work at that night,
as far as
and then just-
scheduling, that ain't a big deal for us to do.
but then putting on there that, I don't know, having them call in by like noon that day and saying, yes, I can be there, no, I can't. That way, if for some reason nobody could do it, then we'd still have time to put a note out on Facebook and on the webpage and everything else saying it's closed tonight.
And maybe if you close it enough time, someone will spark some interest in
Right.
volunteering to.
But that may be a way to do it, just whoever's on, gonna do it that night, they just need to call you guys saying, yes, I can, or no, I can't that day. Okay.
Have you have people have interest in being there, like to have an open gym?
3.
3 people to volunteer, are you saying to come?
To have people said, can we do because you think that the people that want it open would be the ones that would volunteer because they're gonna be there anyway, like if
Yeah.
they're gonna go play basketball or whatever,
Depends
So,
on how many young kids are there and how much supervision they need, whether or not they're playing basketball or not.
Yeah.
parents, put a thing on the parents when they're under a certain age.
And that'll be just thing to take as time goes by too.
And we kind of gathered it was just for the winter months, late
Oh,
fall,
I would
early
think so, 'cause
spring.
otherwise they can be
Yep.
like.
I don't know if you want to have a start and stop date or That was the other thing we were talking about.
I'd wait and see how it goes.
Okay.
I mean, if it's not utilized,
Stop doing
And
it.
we'll
just
stop
stop it. You know, I think you're gonna find that's gonna happen in the summer months anyway.
Yeah, and there's plenty of basketball courts around town that they can use.
Well, then, if I did go at 11th hour, I wanna go shoot hoops because it's raining, but I don't know if you wanna keep somebody on the hook with that.
Yeah, I would think once we get towards spring,
I would
summer, we
think
can just
summer
go.
you can cancel it.
It's not, we're not doing it until fall.
Play it by ear, see what happens.
Any new business? Any mayor council communications?
I put on the dais for everybody tonight, that I am resigning my position on the position on the planning commission effective today. It is not a council appointed position, so they will be short one citizen, so.
And can they do it with one short, or do they need to?
Already one.
Is there a decided number we have to have on or not? I don't think there is.
Then you have to meet your quorum requirements.
How many are on it right now?
There's 7 total.
Oh, we're down by one, so I think so that'll put us at 5.
Well, I suppose it's another one of those, we could advertise that the position's open and.
Yeah, and we've been advertising for the already vacant spot on Carousel, so I'll change it to two vacant spots, but
I don't know, there should only been a year left on mine anyway. I think this might have been my last year, I don't
yeah, I'd
remember.
have to look, not sure.
Who's the other vacant spot that they're filling, just because it never got?
Sarah Will.
Sarah Willite resigned.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and it
just
never
start,
got filled.
add that to it.
What's on Facebook?
Yeah, I put everything that I put on Carousel goes on Facebook as well, so.
And there is no closed meeting.
All right, do we have a
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Right.
Do that. Sorry.
You did good.
We'll let you do it again.
Oh, I know.
One more time.
One more time.